YouTube, just make sure that we are live, live, live.
Oops a daisy. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think we're live. Let me just go check in all the places real quick to make sure here.
I just got the Facebook notification on my phone saying that you're live with Restream. So check one.
Perfect. All right. I see you there. Awesome. And I'm going to mute that. All right. I see us on Facebook. Do I see us on YouTube yet? Yes. Yes.
Hello.
I think. Okay, yes, we're good. All right, sorry everyone. This is my just being green to the live and restreaming, and I'm learning. I'm learning all the things on how to do all the video stuff, right? So, okay, we are live. I have so we are Yeah, we're good. Let's dive into it. Hi everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us live. I have my near and dear friend Liz Saunders here with me. We are going to chat about Amazon influencer, of course, strategy, tips, but we are mostly going to be focusing on one of the greatest time-saving, money-making tools that I have ever used in my entire online business career space, whatever. And it is her amazing extension called Fluencer Fruit, which is
Yay.
created for us Amazon influencers in order to save time, make more money, right? If you don't like saving time or making more money, then you can just bounce right now. But I assume that you are here because you want to do that stuff as well. So thank you everyone for joining. Liz, tell us about you. I mean, I know all about you because we've been
Yes.
friends for years. Liz and
Significant.
I go way back. We can talk about our origin story if people want to hear about that. But people definitely want to hear about you. We want to hear about Liz. Tell
Aw.
us about your background. Tell us about the awesome software that I'm just going to keep gushing over for the next hour.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, while I chat, I'll do a quick intro on myself. And then I see Beth over on Facebook says that YouTube does not seem to be streaming. If you want to take a look at that and
Sure,
see if it's,
sure.
yeah. So all right. Yeah. So one, super excited to be here joining you all on Facebook as well as YouTube. So thank you for joining Kathleen and I live. I am going to let you know that to my left, I have the Facebook stream up just so that I can also see questions and respond. So I'm going to say hi to Sam and Sarah and Beth. Thank you for the tip about the possibility of the YouTube stream stuff going on. Really appreciate when you jump in and let us know because sometimes the tech on the back end of these is challenging. But so I am Liz. And like Kathleen said, we've been friends for a minute, but we both started in the Amazon space. So just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I started as an Amazon seller in 2016. I've done all the Amazon-y things, associate, merch, KDP. And then in late 2021, so we're coming up on the 2-year mark actually from the time when Kathleen called me and was like, listen, you love all the Amazon things. I'm going to need you to go check out Amazon Influencer. And she was telling me about it because she'd been doing it for a little bit and was starting to see traction. And so I jumped on as well. And so over then that next kind of like initial period, learning about influencer and how it fits into the Amazon ecosystem, was one, just a ton of fun, but also it became very obvious. Just my background was in software for sellers on Amazon, that we had no tools as Amazon influencers. And so I thought, I bet we could build something that would be really helpful to Amazon influencers and helping them maximize both their time as well as their money. And, transparently, Kathleen taught me everything I know about Amazon influencer strategy. So if in
Oh,
case you
you're too
wonder
kind.
after learning from Kathleen if the tool was specifically designed for her system, yes, it was. So I put together the extension in a way that would help guide influencers to the best product listings, right? So started running numbers and kind of being a data nerd and put together like a score for the product listing, which I'll show you guys in a little bit, because I can now mathematically tell you what factors on a product listing impact how well our videos show up. You combine that with something like sales data or review velocity or some of the other things, whether you're using seller tools with Fluencer Fruit or just what Amazon gives us, you've got a pretty good recipe for success with product research. And in Amazon total, so whatever you decide to do in the Amazon ecosystem, you want to sell, you want to do retail arbitrage, you want to do merch, KDP, all those things, it really comes down to product research and making the most of your time. Which, yeah, I mean, obviously Kathleen and I are both fans of tools. And so therefore we use, whether we were in our seller space using seller tools, now in the influencer space using influencer tools. But truly what it comes down to is the product research, however you do it, making sure that you're identifying those products for the system that you're working in.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's the snippet. That's the short that we're going
That's
to,
the summary.
that's the short that we're going to use for this for sure. But yeah, I mean, Liz just hit the nail on the head. It's all about product research. Like I get this question all the time because people go to my, they'll go to my storefront and they'll be like, you only have, I think I'm up to like six, I don't know, like 650 or something, maybe even less, videos on there. Like, you can't be making that much money. How do you make that much money with, because then we have people that have 3,000 videos or people that have 1,500 videos that are making half of what I'm making. And that's it. It's all about the product research. It's all about leveraging your time in order to find the right products, create the good video around the best products that you have that opportunity for. So, one quick note is for everyone watching on YouTube. So we are live on YouTube. It did not go to the event that I created, but if you just go to the channel and click on live, you will see us live there as well. And I have this up. So if anybody is chatting and wants to ask questions on, I see we've got a few people watching. So thank you. We got people watching on Facebook and YouTube. You guys, we want to hear all your questions.
Yes.
Liz is going to do a demo. We are going to talk about the features and benefits of this tool and what we love about it, what I love about it. There's so many things. I mean, I can't say it enough how much time it has saved me and how much money it has made me. Like, it's actually really hard to quantify that, to be honest, because I use it every single day. So it saves me time every single day, whether it's 5 minutes compounded every day or an hour or 2 hours. I mean, that just in and of itself is completely worth it. So, so yeah, everyone shoot your questions over, but I would love for Liz, tell us about like the best features. Give us a, do you want to do a walkthrough? Do we want to, should we just start there? I feel like we'll have questions that come up once you start showing everybody this amazing tool.
Yeah, I think that's great. I am going to start us with the Creator Hub stuff because we just launched. And guys, we will work through all of it. So if you have specific things that you're like, let's talk about X, you just let me know and we will head over to whichever portion that you want to talk about. But I want to start in Creator Hub because we've had the video placement for a little bit now, right? So like showing you where your videos are. But we just launched some new functionality in here like 2 weeks ago that is so much fun to just kind of like show people. So in case you're not familiar with the screen that I'm showing, yes, I have it collapsed. So it is very narrow on what you can see. And it is basically the right side of my Creator Hub. So on your manage videos page, right? And the reason I have it this is terms of service. I want to make sure that I'm not showing all of my Creator Hub and breaking what Amazon allows for us. So I just want you to know that that is intentional. But we've had the placement over here for a while, and we added the ability to filter, which is really fun. So if you don't want to look through everything on this page, I can just pull my no carousel videos or go back to all, or just see which ones have upper, right? Even that has been around for a little bit. So I want to show you, if you click on this here, check all video placements, it is actually going to go through every page of videos you have. And I've already run it over on this other page. So you'll see it's checked all 183 out of 183 of my videos. And now I can actually filter all of these just by placement, not just on the one page, but all of them. So I can actually click through all of my no carousel placements so that I can prioritize where I'm spending my time if I need to go back and address. So like this one has no carousel and 0%. I probably need to go look at that one, this one as well. Whereas some of these have no carousel and they've still got like average percentage viewed here. So they're getting views somewhere. So I might let those sit, but you can use it to like quickly guide what you're looking at. You can do the same for upper if you just want to check and see where, which of your videos are just sitting in upper carousels. You can do that. And again, without having to go page by page, you can just click through all of your upper carousel placements by using the yellow arrows up here as opposed to Amazon's. But in addition to that, this little download arrow right here. Okay, so for those of you who are data nerds, this is going to be so exciting for you. I'm going to switch what I'm sharing right now so that I'm sharing the actual download from this page. What we did is we made it so that when you click on that little down arrow, it actually exports all of the data that you can and can't see in Creator Hub. So some of the fun things that I didn't know until even when my developer started talking to me about it, he was like, did you know there are more stats on this page that Amazon doesn't visualize? They hide for us. So I'm going to show you the two columns that I'm most excited about. But first, you've got like all the things like this is actually the video link, your creation date, if it's approved, views, all of these things that you see. Now we've added the video placement. So you'll get the video placement that Fluencer Fruit is adding to this combined with the other stats, but you have your title and description, and then it has your list of ASINs. I've pulled mine out just for terms of service so that I don't have too much information out here. But if you come down here, and you guys can pause this at some point, go back and watch the replay if you want to see all of these, because there's a ton of categories that they don't surface for us because they don't matter at the moment, right? Minus, if you are, I think the first one here is going to be, yes, video cross marketplace association mapping and shared across marketplaces. So if you've been following along with the international Amazon influencer conversations, this is pretty fascinating. We don't currently have Creator Hub in most of the other marketplaces yet, but this makes me wonder if we're going to get a consolidated Creator Hub where we can share our videos across the marketplaces that we choose. So that's pretty interesting. Now, do I know that for sure? I do not, but there are two columns here talking about shared marketplaces. So that's interesting.
Yeah, but that definitely tells us Amazon's doing something with that, right? Which is why this tool is so cool. I was so excited when I downloaded this and was like, oh, there's so much more information. Sorry, keep going. There's even better ones.
It's wild, though, the fact that there is this information on the back end, especially once we start having those shared marketplace. But here's the other one that I'm so excited about, guys. This is the conversion rate for your videos. Have you wondered, okay, how many views, how am I converting? This column has the conversion rate for your videos. So that is if you're looking at something and you're like, hey, I used to sell a lot or whatever, or you have a video that, man, it converts at 80% or whatever it is, you can start making data-driven decisions around creating additional content, right? So my best listing of all time is my shade tent in my backyard. I talk about it all the time. It was around the 1 year mark that I hit $5,000 off of that one item. It's kind of wild, right? Because it's not my best video. But when I go and I look at that conversion rate, I'm like, oh, I convert really well. This video converts really well. You can start looking at what are you doing in your videos when they convert really well? What are you doing in your videos when they don't convert really well? Because Amazon is not necessarily going to give us personalized improvement or patterns, I guess is what I'm looking for, right? But we can start pulling on some of those threads when you start looking at which of your videos not just makes you the most money, but also converts the highest. Because when you start thinking about being really efficient with your time and picking those products that are going to make you money, then you can also start looking at how you also make the videos so that they are doing the best in the ecosystem. So, all right. Actually, I see a question on here before we jump back over to the tool. I do want to take a minute and Beth answer your question. And I'm going to read it, but then I'm going to give a preface here. It says, might be a dumb question since I know you're really good about following terms of service, but have either of you ever asked Amazon if it's okay to use tools like this? I'm scared to death of losing this opportunity now that I've found it. And this is actually not a dumb question because we have seen situations, not necessarily with tools, but with connecting third parties that have impacted people's accounts. So one, I always love questions around terms of service and how to make sure that you can hold on to this opportunity. So that's never dumb because we want to make sure that we're protecting our accounts. So just that's my preface. But to directly answer your question, Amazon, this tool actually sits on top of Amazon. So it doesn't have a connection to your actual account. So the situation a year and a half ago or whatever that happened was there was a third party that was getting access and there was like login capabilities that were tied into that. And they did end up resolving it and people got their accounts back and everything else, but the login was the issue for Amazon at that time. Fluencer Fruit, if you are logged out of your Amazon influencer account, all of the functionality outside of Creator Hub, all of the other functionality will work. It is not tied to your account. And even in the Creator Hub portion, it's not tied to your account. So it's not a matter of you being logged in that connects that. Fluencer Fruit is just accessing the information that Amazon already has on that page. So if you think about it as like, this is the Amazon page and Fluencer Fruit just basically like sits on top of it and visualizes that information in a different way for you, that's probably the easiest way because it's not connected and the logins are kind of like where it gets, you have to be really careful with Amazon terms of service. Now, that being said, on the seller side, there are a ton of tools, right? You've got Jungle Scout, you've got Helium 10, you've got Seller Amp. The PPC tools are extensive, right? Like there's just a tool for everything. But sellers have what's called like an API connection through partners. So like Jungle Scout, for example, is a selling partner API partner. So then if a seller connects their back end, those are approved. So Amazon does actually like and encourage tools for their programs, and they have different programs that they work with partners on this. In the affiliate and the influencer space, there's not currently a backend API for accessing this data yet. So we are currently just sitting on top, but I would imagine as the program grows that Amazon will probably launch some of those that are similar to what they do for sellers just somewhere down the road.
Yeah, great explanation, Liz. And Liz is my go-to authority when it comes to like all software tools related to Amazon because she's been in this space forever. And as somebody else has already brought up, Liz is exactly like me as far as the terms of service go, right? That's why she's showing her half screens and she's taking out ASINs, right? Because she's following all the rules that Amazon has made for us. So you guys just stick with us. We'll answer all your questions and just do what we do and show what we show and don't show what we don't show in order to keep your, in order to keep your account safe. But that's such a great explanation of everything just kind of sitting on top of it, as opposed to, right, Amazon doesn't necessarily even know that you're using that tool because there's no login, there's no actual connection.
Right. Absolutely. So my computer is telling me that I'm out of memory. I'm just going to quickly quit a couple programs so it doesn't like kill
No
my
problem.
Chrome while I'm, screen sharing over here.
No problem. Sam had a follow-up question. Sam asks, so anyone can hover a page. So I'm guessing, Sam, are you talking about like the different kind of tools? When you say like, so anyone can hover a page, I'm guessing probably that's what he means.
Yeah, basically any Chrome extension. So whether you're on Amazon or you're using, what is the deal when Honey
Yeah, that,
Even
that like
like,
pricing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, even Loom, right? Like the screen recording, they're a Chrome extension that sits on top of the website. So even if you pull like Amazon out of the conversation in general, like any Chrome extension just basically sits on top of what you're already doing. There are ways that they can integrate and everything else, but just generally speaking. Um, oh, and this is what I was going to say, if Amazon ever decides like that they don't want these types of tools, there hypothetically is a way that they could recreate their pages that doesn't super like isn't super friendly to these. So they never have, and these tools have been around for a long time. But Sam, I think the direct answer to your question is yes, any Chrome extension basically can sit on top of an Amazon page.
Yeah, definitely. And Sarah says camel, camel, camel is one that her husband uses.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a very popular one with the seller side.
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of the seller tools are actually doing something similar to what I'm going to show you Fluencer Fruit does, which is they take a combination of what Amazon is giving you and creates like a score or pulls like Camel, Camel, Camel is pulling BSR and sales estimates. I think they have like some, but that's their proprietary algorithm about estimating sales on the page that they're combining with the information on the Amazon sales or on the Amazon page.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sam had another follow-up. He said, so let's say my Amazon store, can you hover over it to see how it is producing?
Oh,
Liz, I'm gonna
okay.
let you take this one, but I don't think so, right? I don't think not necessarily like people can't see your back end
Mm-mm.
stats because
Yeah.
that's yours, right? And that's like the whole thing that we talk about with the Amazon terms of service. That's what
Yeah.
Amazon wants you to keep private. So
Yes.
anything that's forefront, right? We can see actually, we can't even. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a tool where we could go to somebody's storefront and really see. I mean, we can't see your carousel placements, right? We can't see, all we can see is what Amazon publishes on that page.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really great question. Even from the seller side, even with the seller tools, they actually all have like sales estimates. They're never surfacing actuals, even from customers who are connected from them, because obviously it's a competitive situation. But correct, I can't go to your storefront and figure out what your views are. That's all behind a login wall. And even if you're logged into Creator Hub, it's not something that Amazon will pull over to like the product listing or to your storefront. It's definitely behind that, like that login wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah, it is. I love it. Well, man, I love a good terms of service group.
These people are primed with, I mean, I know a lot of people have watched my YouTube videos, right? Where I like won't
Mhm.
even say something or show
Yeah.
anything that could possibly be misinterpreted by someone
Yeah.
with even the tiniest bit of Amazon knowledge, right? Like
Yeah.
we're all by the book here because we know how amazing this opportunity is with the
Yes.
influencer program. So we're not taking any risks here. Everything we're talking about is no risk to you
Yeah.
whatsoever. We don't do gray hat anything because quite
Mm-mm.
honestly it's just not worth
It's
it.
not worth it. Exactly. Um, I love that. All right, let's jump over and I'm going to do a screen share now. I'm going to talk us through kind of like the basics of the extension. So anywhere where you see this bright yellow and or a banana, there's old lore with Amazon around the banana carts in the original Amazon office places. But anywhere you see this in my screen share today, and I'm just going to make sure, Kathleen, can you see the drop down?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
perfect.
Oh, this is my
Some
favorite part.
Yeah, sometimes Zoom is funny about that. Um, so anywhere where you see the yellow, you see a banana, it's going to be attributable to the Fluencer Fruit tool, just to give you guys an idea as we work through this. So I like to start with just a little bit of what I call product page and anatomy, just to make sure that we're all talking about the same things. And since you guys are in Kathleen's groups and watch her content, this will all probably be second nature to you, but this upper carousel is 7 places, and the brand or the seller controls everything that goes here. If they upload one product video at least, it creates this upper pop-up carousel for us, right? So this is the upper carousel that everybody talks about. Under videos for this product, these are both brand videos. Under related videos, even though it says related, these are actually all Amazon influencers who have created content for this specific product listing, right? So when we talk about like the placement that you're looking for, when we start doing some product research in a minute, this is the gold standard. Yes, all the other placements are awesome. And also from a data perspective, your videos that get placed here do 8 times better than your videos that do not get an upper carousel position. Now, the other thing that I'll call out about the upper carousel is if you've been watching Amazon in the last 3 months, they've been doing lower carousel experiments. And so when they pull that lower carousel as part of their experiment, the upper carousel is the only placement, not just the better placement. So this is why it's part of like really important to make sure when you are looking for products that you want to make sure, one, there is an upper carousel, and two, that it's not full yet, right? So just kind of like some base guidelines as we get started there. As we go down, I'm just going to show you quickly, the lower carousel is always beneath this product information table. Videos for this product, usually Amazon has brands, customers, and influencers kind of like all wrapped up down here. It looks like currently there are only Amazon influencers like actually in this carousel, which is kind of nice. I'm happy to see them testing just influencers because they have tested literally every other combination. So this is good news for us.
Definitely.
So
This is fantastic. Makes me so
right
happy.
after we went through like a month, it was like 4 weeks of no lower carousel, right?
Brutal.
So then Kathleen and I kind of have different. Kathleen, what's your lowest rating that you look for?
I would say lowest is like 4.4 because I
Okay.
know that's like when the Amazon like seller side, right?
Mm.
They don't necessarily like penalize you for going under 4.4, but you definitely get shown more so organically when I believe it's 4.4 or higher.
That's interesting. So I actually didn't know the seller piece of that. I just knew from when I ran the numbers that 4.4 has like a mathematical impact on how
Oh,
well
okay.
the influencer stuff does in way of like showing up. So that's
Oh,
fascinating. That makes perfect
interesting.
sense, right?
Yeah, yeah, that does make sense, right? That they would kind of put all that together. I mean, you can still definitely, for people watching, you can definitely still review things that are less than that 4.4,
Yes.
but like in my experience, it's got to be a product that you like use and love and can really speak to. Because if
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, well, this thing and I bought it so I could like try it out, your conversion rate probably isn't going to be super high. Like I've done, like I said, I've done videos on things less than 4.4, but
Mhm.
it's like I'm gushing, right? It's like this is
Yeah.
something I use every single day, and this is why I love it. And I don't know why it's lower than 4.4.
Yeah. And I do like, I want to call out that some of the stuff we're talking about is going to be for your optimal product research. But if you own a product, do the video, right? Like this is not the
Yes.
conversation around like, oh, I have this new knife set that I bought at Target, but it has a listing. Should I do it? Yes, you should do it. Like they're super easy to do. If you can talk about it and create value, do it. This is going to be for like you're optimizing whether you're buying for around the house, because I use this for around the house shopping, or you're
Mhm.
buying with the intent just to create content. This is where you're going to really utilize these like factors. So when you look at the Fluencer Fruit tool, you're going to get a score up top. And this is going to be basically like a grade for the product listing page. How well is this product listing page set up for influencer content, right? So the things that the score includes: upper carousel. Does it have it? Yes or no? It's the number one factor. If you're doing this manually, look for those upper carousels. How many other influencers are on the product already, right? Now, when you look at this, and this is visualized in a couple different places, but this number includes not just the influencers in the upper carousel, but it includes the influencers that are in the lower carousel as well. So it's the total number on the product listing. Um, it includes, is it low in stock, right? We've had a lot of supply chain issues. We want to make sure that like when things run out, Sometimes it takes the seller a minute to get stuff back in stock, right? That score 4.4 or higher. The other things that it includes in way of just like grading the listing is the commission category. So we've got the influencer commission here at 4%, which if you can focus on those 4% categories, man, the difference between 1 and 4% is pretty significant. And then it also includes like the price basically. And this is kind of a capped because obviously the higher price does better, but also a $3,000 item doesn't sell all the time on Amazon, right? So that 100 to 200 price point is really where you see like people need to think about the decision. They're watching content, but it's not so expensive that it's prohibitive to somebody who's actively looking at that product. So those are the basic things. And basically, the score then is just a weighted algorithm of how much each of those factors impact this listing. So then you take that and you combine it with things like sales volume. And we'll switch over to a search page now to show you just kind of like how this all plays with when you're doing the product research. But I wanted to show you what it includes from the product listing first, and then, include all the other things second so that we don't get lost in the whole process. All right. So
one quick thing, Liz, just
yeah.
real quick before you keep going, I just want to answer Sam's question about the software and just because I know we have some more seasoned people on here and then we also have some very newbies, but the way that you would see this software is you would download it and buy it, right? So if you're on Amazon and you're like, where are all the yellow boxes, right?
Yeah.
It's because, right, it's because it's an extension for your browser. So if you go to the Google store and download the extension, then use it, then all of this will come up. It has to be enabled, right, on Chrome. And so it is something you can like turn on and turn off. But Sam,
Yeah.
that is probably why you are not seeing it despite being logged into your account. So we can talk more about that at the end as far as like how do you set it up, how do you purchase, what's the best way to like get started and all that. But sorry, Liz, to interrupt you. I just wanted to
that's
do
great.
a quick, right, like, so if you've never worked with software or extensions before, right, like Liz gave the example of Honey earlier, and that is a Chrome extension, right? You can get the extension, have it enabled when you're searching for things, and it will tell you if there's a better price somewhere else. Very very similar, same idea.
Right. No, that's great. Thank you. Always interrupt me. I love the questions. So all right. So we're over on a search page, and the way that we're going to use this just in this moment is basically I've done a search for bookshelf for kids, right? So now I've got the search page brought up over here, and I can quickly either scroll through. And as you get started with product research, I'm going to recommend that you look for product listings that have a 70 or higher. Now, as you get more mature in your your influencer content, you might be like, Liz, I'm willing to do a 46 because of the sales volume, and I'm willing to do that more competitive listing. But as you get started, this somewhere around a 70 or higher is really more the ideal for you because it's going to have enough of the features that we're looking for on the product listing page for you to be successful, right? So I'm going to look first at the high scores, 91. Yes, there's a video in the upper carousel. There's 4 open slots and no other influencers on this product listing, right? So that's really good. It's also a 4% commission on a $165 bookshelf here. So that's like $6 every time somebody buys this. So this is something that I would go over and look at. Now, I have Jungle Scout integrated here. So it is a separate subscription, but it does integrate with Fluencer Fruit. So I just want to call out, I'm using these sales estimates that are coming from Jungle Scout. But if you are not yet at a point where you're like, yes, I want to go all in on all the tools, you can also use this, right? So Amazon gives us estimates, 200 plus bought in the last month, 5,000 plus bought in the last month. Now, the Jungle Scout estimates are most likely more accurate, quite honestly. Amazon is not going to surface exact numbers for their sellers, right? but it does directionally tell you that this one with 31,000 reviews and 5,000 in the last month is selling more than this one that has 200. So you can see directionally, you can utilize what Amazon is giving, or once you get into like a place where you're doing pretty in-depth research, you can incorporate the Jungle Scout sales estimates. So some of the other things that are down here is if you are also doing affiliate stuff, we do have the affiliate commission and amount down here as well. If you are not doing affiliate stuff and you just don't want to take up that real estate, you can actually remove it so that it's not like taking up a huge footprint on your search page. But I want to show you Kathleen's favorite part, and mine honestly, on this page, is the ability to do the drop down, and then it just brings everything on the page to one place. So now what I can do, I'm going to sort by sales. So monthly sales, okay, this one has 38,000 a month that they're selling. The review count is 82,000, and there's only 3 influencer videos. This is showing -1 because it used to be that the video carousel had only 6. So this means there are 7 videos in their video carousel. We're getting ready to change that because I was hoping Amazon would go back to the standard 6 and they just keep like 10, 14. So we're going to change it so it's a little bit more intuitive and not negative numbers. But you can come here then and quickly combine your sales, or if you want to do by review count, or I sometimes sort by how much money I'll make per purchase here, and start putting together like, okay, I'm going to make $15 off of this. Yes, there's a video in the carousel and they have an open slot. That's a pretty decent amount of money if you have $390 to spend on this bookshelf, right? But you can start making those decisions based around like what is important to you. And this is customizable. So you can just pull this over so you can see them all in one place. And you can also remove the things here in the upper drop down, just like you can in the other part.
Ooh, I didn't know about that. What a nice feature.
Yeah. It doesn't currently save. So you have to, every time you open the drop down, have to move it again, but the devs have fixed it and it's coming in the next like couple of days. I'll release it with the fix so that like whatever view you have set up and saved is what you'll see every time, kind of regardless. So I'm really excited about that.
Ooh, very cool. Love it.
Yeah. All right. So where are some of the other places that you can see Fluencer Fruit? One, in your order history. So if you're just getting started and you're trying to figure out where to focus your time on stuff that you have in the house, Fluencer Fruit will actually show up in your order history. Now, I don't have it up on my account, just my kids order stuff. I don't know what's on my order history right now. So you can pull up though your order history and start working through what are your highest scores? What does it have an upper carousel? Are there no other influencers on it? Those are wonderful opportunities, regardless of sales, since you already own them. Start picking those up in your order history. It also works in your browsing history. So like if I come up here, I can actually jump over to my browsing history. So if I'm looking at different things, I'm like, oh, wait, what was the one that I had that had like 5 open slots and no other influencers? Oh, I can come here and just pull it, right? Especially if you're looking at like a bunch of ski straps. Sometimes it's hard to keep track those different things. So you can pull that on your browsing history. But one of the things I wanted to show you guys was the best seller pages. So this is something that sellers used to use as a way to kind of like niche down, but we can do the same thing. So Jungle Scout, where they don't provide sales, they're not going to show up in the tool. They're just going to show the logo. So the main bestseller pages don't, but as you go into the subcategories, they do. But you don't really need to know exactly how many of these sell. These are in a bestseller category on Amazon, right? So like if I'm looking at this name necklace for Christmas gifts here, there's only 2 influencers on here and there's 2 open carousel slots of a bestseller. This is a pretty good opportunity, right? So as we dig down, like bestseller, sub-bestseller categories is one of my favorite places to look. I did an experiment with this in like August or September, where I was in a subcategory under health and household, and it was I think it was wellness and relaxation. It was essential oils. Here we go. And so when I came over to this, this Majestic Pure actually at the time had no other influencers on it, and it's selling 70,000 a month, right? So I bought lavender and tea tree and rosemary, and there were a bunch of others over here that didn't have influencers on them. But it's pretty interesting. You can sometimes find those needle in a haystack by coming to these like bestseller pages. And if you sort to see like, okay, so that one has 11, that one obviously has a ton, but if you sort these, it's like, oh, this one only has one influencer video. There are 4 open slots. There is a carousel in that upper carousel, and they're doing 33,000 sales a month. Now, your influencer commission is 12 cents per sale, which is why I show essential oils because I'm not blowing up anybody's spot on the really high price ticket items. But you can come over and look at this and see like what exactly the product listing looks like. And sure enough, they've got only 2 videos in this upper carousel, which means there's plenty of space. They are a 4.4, so they're right at that cusp. So it's a pretty interesting way to do product research. And that's part of the reason that we made the Fluencer Fruit extension work on the bestseller subcategories. So I'll stop there and let you guys ask any questions, or, if you want to see something else specifically, I'm happy to chat.
Ooh, I love this. We do have a couple questions. Let's start with Tracy. Tracy said, with Fluencer Fruit, do you need to start search with a specific product or category? Just wondering what's the best way to start your research.
That's a great question. So I use 2 different ways. One is I'm shopping for something, or I've got an idea and I think that it's going to be a good category to start in. So you're doing a search. The other is the bestseller category. So if you're looking for something where it's not directly related to like something you're searching for, I would go through the bestseller categories and just kind of like dig down and find those opportunities.
Yeah, love that. And like Liz was saying, if it's something that it really depends on what's the purpose of this purchase, right? Are you purchasing something because you know you need it?
Right.
Then start with the product, right? I always start with like the best search terms that I think people are searching for, because
Mm-hmm.
what my search terms yield will be the same, ideally, results that somebody else's search term is going to yield, right? So if I'm looking for lavender essential oils,
Mm-hmm.
finding the best product that ranks for that keyword is going to help you a ton, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just very product specific there. Sarah has a question. If there's no if there's no video from the seller, do we know for sure there would not be a carousel?
Yes, we do know for sure. So if the seller does not have a product video, Amazon does not currently have an upper carousel. Now, I'm going to give a caveat to that. Amazon has occasionally tested influencers as the main video. It's very unusual. They've done it for like a day or two here or there. I've had a couple of mine hit, and don't get me wrong, when that happens, it is magical. Like
Yes.
your
Yes, it
clicks, your
is.
sales, you're on mobile, you're on desktop, it's amazing. But as a rule, Amazon's current rule of thumb is the brand has to be brand registered, which is just a registration that they can do, and they have to upload a product video in order to create that upper carousel.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't rely on, I know I always get really excited too when I
Yeah.
see my video on a product page. I have a great example from over like Thanksgiving. I had actually bought a like Thanksgiving Day tablecloth last
Mhm.
year, and I kind of missed the boat. Like it's very specific. There's like, I mean, it's orange, right? Like you're only using this for Thanksgiving, although I use it all the time because my kids constantly spill stuff on the table. So
Right.
yes, we rotate the Thanksgiving and Halloween all year, but I created the video, right? Because I'm like, I missed the boat last year. I did it this year. And the I didn't jump on it last year because there was no video in the carousel, right?
Mm.
And so This year, I was just like, well, I'm just looking at the volume, right? It
Yeah.
just spikes, right? For Thanksgiving. Obviously, it's a Thanksgiving tablecloth. Well, during like the week that they were testing was when my video ended up being on this product page. And not only were there different like patterns, but there are different sizes, right? It's a tablecloth. And this tablecloth ended up being the number one tablecloth on Amazon for, like a whopping like 1 week or
Yeah.
whatever. But that one video that I made, I would have to go back and look and do the math, but I was making $10 to $12 every day, right? For at least a week. So
Yeah.
I made definitely more than $100 on this video that, again, it's not there anymore, but it's going to be their next Thanksgiving. I know that, right? And so like it definitely is worth it to test it, but I wouldn't be purchasing things that
Right.
don't have that video in the carousel
Yeah.
by any means. Don't rely on Amazon's test. I mean, it's hard to rely on Amazon anyway, but don't rely on the testing that they're doing.
Now, if they ever implement that full time, it totally changes the game, right? Because then the
Oh,
game is
yeah.
go find all of the, listings that don't have upper carousels and don't have influencers. So, which there's a ton of those.
Totally different strategy. Yeah, if
Yep.
they bring that to the table, but yeah, as we know, they're always testing, but don't
Mhm.
don't let that stop you. If it's a high ticket item, I think people will still find the video and watch, especially if it's a high ticket item. That would be where I would say yes to
Yeah.
doing a product video that didn't necessarily have a video on it already. Okay, we have some more questions coming in. Debbie asked, how do conversion rates for videos on small ticket items differ from mid
Mm,
or high ticket? Ooh, it's a good
that's a
question.
great question. You know what, Debbie? I'm gonna have to go look at that. We just got conversion rate data in the last, like, I think it was like, I don't know, like 2, 3 weeks ago. Anyways, and I have not done a deep dive on the data yet to compare it with my numbers. So let's see. Let me add that to my little list of things that I want to look at, and I will post something in Kathleen's Facebook group.
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. I don't have a ton to expand on that either, but I'm looking at my download that I did. And what I did was I sorted
Mm,
by conversion rate, and then I kind of highlighted all the ones that had 100 views is low, right? But like at least 100 views. Because if you have, an 80% conversion rate, but you only have 5 views, I mean, that the numbers aren't necessarily very accurate. So maybe even looking at more like 200 or 500, kind of look at your average views
mhm.
already. But yeah, I was trying to find something similar to your question, Debbie. And I'm kind of seeing it all over the board. I think I need to look a little bit more because I'm seeing like higher conversion rates, but then there's
Right.
lower views. So it's like kind of like, how do you put all of that information together? I do
Yeah.
think though that there is a lot more consideration when it comes to higher price items.
Yeah.
Even though maybe sales as far as units would be lower, I do think that I see a lot more sales as far as the higher commission rates go, right, on those higher priced items, because with the lower price items, people are like, yes, yes, yes. Okay. I used to do videos on like diapers because I have 3 kids, right? But it's like people aren't necessarily watching videos about diapers. They normally know A, that they need a diaper, and
Right.
B, people are mostly brand loyal, or they're just simply
Mhm.
looking for the best price, right? So never made a whole bunch of money on any videos I did about diapers. So just kind of keep that in mind, like how long did you consider the purchase? And you can
Right.
kind of factor that into if you create the video and how much time you spend on that too.
Right.
All right. So then Debbie said, for example, with that 12 cent commission, essential oil, are people watching videos as much as they are with the higher
Mm.
price items? If they are, do they convert similarly? I think I mostly answered that, but Liz, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say too.
Actually, I was just thinking, like, now I'm really excited to have like a pretty specific question to go look at my data over. Debbie, anecdotally, without looking at the conversion rates, um, what I notice is my videos that do the best are that like 100 plus that need some form of explanation. And now I say that I've been running this test with the essential oils for probably about 2 months now. And in the last 1 to 2 weeks, they're like showing up as some of my top sales in units, in units. Because 12 cents per sale is not how I'm retiring, next year. um, so that they're starting to like show up more. And I do think that there's something around like with Amazon testing, like it takes a minute for your stuff to kind of like shake in and settle. And right after I did that, like I do all of my stuff pretty publicly. So there are now a lot of influencers on there. I'm not like surprised, nor do I think they necessarily all got it from me. It's an opportunity. So I don't have the data for that yet. My guess is probably in line with yours, which is most likely fewer people watch essential oils videos. And if they do, I don't know that that's what like converts them, unless it's because especially essential oils, you can only say certain things, right? Like mine are like unboxing videos. They're very simple. I talk about exactly what comes in the box and read off of some of the listing for the answers to make sure that in terms of service around like Amazon doesn't like medical advice. So I think my base answer is I don't know. And that anecdotally is like kind of like some of my hypotheses surrounding like what does better for me. And I agree with you that the lower price ones may not have as big of an impact.
Yeah, that's a great question though.
Mm.
I'm just going through some of the comments and the questions. I want to make sure that I answer everything. Sarah said, okay, yes, I've seen some like that no seller video, but an influencer video or two. Yes, you can
Yes.
still very much make an influencer video if there is not a seller video on there. I have actually, and I'll have to see if this is like okay, but I've worked with sellers before where they're like, hey, will you do a video for me? We figure out our terms and agreement or whatever. And then I go back to them and, if there's not a video on the listing already, I will ask them, hey, is that coming? Or when is that coming? Because 50% of the sellers that I say that to don't realize that that's a requirement. They
Right.
they don't know that. And so there's a lot of brands out there, I feel like that
Yeah.
don't know that necessarily. I know Amazon is very much, I saw something, it was definitely on the seller side, but I think they didn't call them shoppable videos, but it
Mhm.
was something very similar, but it was for sellers. And it was Amazon encouraging sellers to upload videos in order to help customers, right? So Amazon loves the videos. We know that unlocks, the placements for us. So that's just good for us that
Yeah.
Amazon is encouraging the sellers to do that as well. Um, so yeah, don't let that stop you, but just know that you won't have that great placement. However, if they add a video, then your video will go to that carousel. You don't necessarily have to do anything to make that happen once the seller adds a video later. So I do love that. Um, so Sam had another question. Sam says, I still don't understand how it finds my video placement and stats. So I
Mm.
think one thing to think of, so when we're talking about Fluencer Fruit and the extension and kind of any other extension that you would use with a browser, what it's doing is it's pulling information that anyone can see already on Amazon. It's just compiling it to be it's specific to you because you are logged into your Amazon account as far as Creator Hub goes,
Mhm.
right? Because I think everything else is really just, I mean, it is all information that anyone can see on Amazon at any time. So anybody can go to a listing or even a video that you have, right? Because if you go to somebody's storefront and click on the video, we're seeing the live video URL and the products are showing up underneath. Anybody can go see that. So I think the thing to think about when you're like, well, where's this data being pulled from? It's literally just being pulled directly from Amazon. The tool is just making it so that you don't have to manually go find it
Yeah.
because it would take forever and it does, right? So Sam, let me know if that clarifies kind of how that works more so. It's everything we can already see on Amazon. It's just data that is pulled for you specifically based on the page you're on or what you're looking at on Amazon.
Yeah. I can actually say one more thing about the video placement portion. Because basically, it is what you can go find, but basically on Creator Hub, right? The data that's in that page, whether it's hidden or visible, one of the things that's in there is ASIN, the associated ASIN, right? And when you download the report, you'll see like it has all of the associated ASIN. So if I've tagged one product, it has that ASIN. If I've tagged 5 products, it lists all 5 of those ASINs. So basically, what the tool is doing is what you would do manually, but it just does it, it automates it, right? So it takes the ASIN that you've tagged, it checks that listing, it looks for your video, and then it tells you in Creator Hub. So it just consolidates all of the information. So it basically just automates the process that you would do manually.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just want to so Nicole had a good very clarifying comment because you buy a membership to this software extension and log in
Yes.
with your info. Yes. So sorry if that wasn't clear. Yes, this is a paid software tool, right, in order to help you grow your Amazon influencer earnings. And so I will put a link. Actually, I just need to get on. I'm going to put a link in here in a second while Liz is talking. So I'm not
Yeah.
multitasking. Nobody wants to see that. But yeah, so that is how you actually get the extension. It is a paid subscription. And so once you do, like I said, let me put the link in the chat, but you purchase it, you download it, and then your screen will start looking like Liz's when you're on Amazon, as long as you have the extension enabled, and it will give you all of this awesome information. I will say one thing though, is that Liz has so graciously given, if you are a course student, if you're
Mhm.
in the Influence and Earn course, you have a free 30-day trial to this.
Yes.
I mean, that in and of itself, I personally think is worth is worth getting into. If you need extra help, I'll also drop the link for the course itself too. But
Mhm.
like I said, Liz is very supportive of everyone growing their Amazon influencer channels and earnings. And so, like I said, that was just so generous of her, because she doesn't offer free trials, you guys. So this is just for my course students. So if you are a student, go log in and you will find that coupon code within the course dashboard there, and you can get this tool for free for 30 days. And that's like probably the only place you're going to find getting this tool for free, because it's a software tool, right? So like, she spends a lot of time and a lot of money developing this tool, right? Like the things that you pay for are the things that, I mean, personally for me, are the things that make me more money and save
Mhm.
me more time. And so that is part of the reasoning with this training, is that like I said, Liz is giving her time to come on here and show everyone a demo of the software. I asked her to do this. She is doing this as a favor to me. She's not getting paid here. But I really just, this is also to help you guys, in that, like, we don't have a million hours to go be doing product research. I've done that, especially on the seller side. And it's always
Mhm.
like the biggest pain point is like, okay, I'm going to do product research. And then 3 hours later, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just confused,
Yeah.
and so this just, again, I'm just going to keep saying it saves time. It makes money. I'm going to pause so I can drop some links into the chat and let Liz answer. I don't think we have any more. Oh, we do have one more question. Does this work for books? They use the
Mm.
ISBN.
Yes, it does.
It does. Ooh.
Let me pull a book listing. I said that. Now I'm like, does it work for books? I think it works for books. Um, Steve Books, Family First.
All right, y'all. I'm getting the links on here. I'm just working with a couple of different
Yes.
screens
Okay.
here.
I was
So
like, I think it does, but yes.
okay.
So the thing that I'll say about books, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen while Kathleen's doing that. The thing that I'll say about books is they don't usually have an upper carousel. So books and clothing and shoes are kind of the categories that are hit or miss, but generally speaking, do not have that upper carousel. So the other thing is sometimes books will um, basically like default to the Audible version, and Audible doesn't have the same. So like you can see there's an influencer on this starting a business quick guide. because it's the paperback, but Audible versions don't have influencer videos. So I'm going to say yes, but you'll want to basically like pick the hardback covers so that it shows you more accurate information around this. And Jungle Scout is not going to have a ton of sales estimates for the really low. That's not true. Outside of like maybe some of the best sellers on the higher end. So just calling those out, but it does work on books. So like I picked Steve's because I know that he's got influencer videos on here. And it looks like, look, they have added an upper carousel to this. Yeah. Okay. So hardbacks right now, they're rolling out, sometimes having upper carousels. Paperbacks, I haven't seen them, and Audible does not. Yeah. So you can see this is his here. So yes, it works for books. And I did want to say, there was somebody else who asked and said, oh, so you have to log in with your information. I want to give a caveat to that because yes, to log into Fluencer Fruit, you will create a login. It's not attached to your Amazon login. And in order to see the Creator Hub stuff, you need to be logged in, but it's not, the Fluencer Fruit connection is separate from that. It's not connected to your login to Amazon. So I just wanted to call those two things out.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And we have also seen some testing with Amazon on the book side, right? We've seen the carousel come, the carousel go. If you've read the book, like why not? You know?
Yeah. There is the number one question I get from people about books is a lot of us listen to books, right? And so how do you review the book if you don't have it? And the answer to this is really kind of gray because Amazon has not given us any guidance on this, right? So my rule of thumb around if Amazon hasn't given us specific guidance is their stated purpose for the program is to help shoppers make more confident buying decisions. And if I've read or listened to a book and I can help somebody make a decision around that book and add meaningful content, then I'll do the video. In good conscience, people are like, do you hold up your phone to show that you have it? I don't. I just generally talk about the book and kind of like what I liked or didn't like about it and that type of stuff. Now, for books, I know that we could all go to ChatGPT and just read a book report that ChatGPT buys for us. I would consider that not a good tactic, but there's not a clear like answer on the Audible stuff if you've read it and you don't have the book. So I pick the books that I've read, I talk about my experience with it, and I offer that content. So far, that has been okay with Amazon. And I just encourage you guys, if you have something to add to that conversation, by all means. And if you haven't read the book, I just would avoid it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're all about like honesty, integrity, right? Like that's how we truly be like, that's how people believe what we're saying as influencers. We're not just going to say we read a book when we didn't and use Chat GPT, like Liz said, like we don't do that. If you do that, whatever, no judgment, but we don't teach that, we don't preach that. So just do the things on, do the videos on the items that you use and love. There's so many things. There's millions and millions of things. Walk around your house if you're at a loss today for your video creation, just walk around your house. Or actually what I like to do is I like to just search my order history. Sometimes I'll go to my order history and I'll just type in like a generic word like kitchen and see what comes up, because it'll be stuff from 5 years ago that I'm like, oh yeah, I do still have that and use that. And then with my content, I'm like, hey, I've been using this for 5 years, so
that's brilliant.
I like that strategy of kind of like, what should I do today?
Yeah.
Pick an inspirational keyword and look in your order history, and I promise you'll find something good in there.
Yeah. Stuff that you forgot.
Right. Oh my gosh. I seriously, so much stuff I forgot that I owned, which is probably a good thing. So we have one more question. I know we're at 4 after the hour, so I want to wrap this up shortly. Debbie says, I'm brand new to the tool and I've been noticing some Fluencer Fruits results with no monthly or daily sales data. I know that comes from Jungle Scout, but can you share what it might mean when we see that? I'm gonna guess and say like very little or no sales, but Liz, I'm gonna let you confirm if that's true
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, so that's one of the scenarios is if it has the little dashes like on the books that we just saw there, it's going to be because it's like below kind of what Jungle Scout tracks. So Jungle Scout tracks out to like a certain long tail. That probably means like if it's showing dashes that it's below that. But there is another scenario if if Jungle Scout does not show sales in that location, then you'll just get a JS logo. And I'll give you an example. So when you go to a product listing page, you'll see at the top that it has Jungle Scout estimates for that exact product listing. But the dropdown works for everything on that page. Jungle Scout doesn't actually surface sales estimates for like related products, sponsored products, the stuff down below the fold when you're scrolling, whereas Fluencer Fruit works in those locations. So there you'll see the JS logo. And if that's what you see, then it means that Jungle Scout does not have sales estimates there. If you see the two dashes, it means that it's just really, really low sales, enough that it doesn't like ping the algorithm.
Ooh, interesting. That's great intel. I didn't know that. When you just
Yeah.
see the logo, it's because Jungle Scout doesn't work there yet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've
Hmm.
like reached out to the product director and I'm like, what would you think about adding some sales estimates for me? Because they have them, it pulls by ASIN, but the sellers aren't necessarily utilizing the related products like we are. And Jungle Scout is at its core a seller tool that we all use for like an off-label version, version, an off-label use. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is common amongst tools, right? Especially ones that
Yeah.
have been around for a while. I know before Fluencer Fruit was born, Jungle Scout is what we were using,
Yep.
right? Because that was all that was there. That was all that was the only tool that we really found that would
Yep.
help us when we were first getting started with this more than 2 years ago now, which is
Crazy.
crazy to think. I know, which 2 years isn't really that long. I always say this like in my Q&As. I'm like, 2 years isn't that long, but in this space right now, 2 years is like an eternity, right? Like
Yes.
we've been doing this for since the beginning. I know we're in groups and know people that have been doing it for longer than we have, and there's not that many of them. There's really not. So
I finally asked somebody and found out. So the Amazon influencer on-site content, the shoppable content, was betaed in 2020 and early
oh, okay.
2021. And then I think they went public out of beta in 2021. So when we meet people who have been doing it since 2020, they were like in the original shoppable content beta group, which is kind of crazy.
Wow. Wow. That is crazy. And I wonder how long from when like we noticed from when
Hmm.
it went live. I mean, I guess,
I
right, if it
know.
was being betaed in 2020, but then you have to think like what percentage of product listings actually had these influencer videos, right?
Yep.
Because I remember calling you. You were my first call
Yeah.
when I saw these influencer videos on the listing pages because like Liz and I have been in the Amazon seller space for a decade or
Yeah.
more now. And so I remember looking and being like, who is this person with their video on my client's page?
Yeah.
Liz, help me understand this, right? And I was very concerned. And then the more I kind of dove into it, I was like,
Oh.
oh, actually, this is fantastic. Great. I'm going to do this too.
You're like,
So,
I will do this immediately. Thank you.
and look where we are. Look where we are 2 years later. It's become our primary focus of business. And
Yeah.
quite honestly, I think it's so fun.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun to do. And I really appreciate you coming on here and answering all of these questions. And we have one more quick question. How long do
Yeah.
you see people stay in the program?
Oh,
Um, Forever,
yeah.
until they do something wrong and get kicked out or get bored of it and stop posting. But the thing about that is even if you take a break or get bored, like I had it was last year or 2 years ago where I was sick for a while. I didn't really
Yeah.
post for like almost a month. But I still earned every day
Mhm.
and I still picked it back, right back up when I was feeling up for it. Sarah said, do people lose momentum?
Mm,
Definitely. I've talked to
yeah.
plenty of people that are like, I hit the ground running. I did 300 videos in the first month,
Yeah.
and now I'm on a 2 week, hiatus because I'm doing whatever, my kids are off, for a break, like,
Mhm.
things like that. I think that's one of the beauties of this program is that like you kind of get what you put into it, right? So if you're constantly creating content and putting new videos out there, you're going to be rewarded with earnings. However, if you don't and you just kind of sit on what you have, you can still earn from those videos, especially if they have good placement, they're on
Mhm.
good product listing pages, and your content is doing well and converting, right? So good question. I
Yeah.
hope anyone who is doing it doesn't necessarily fall off or stop doing it. But again, you're still earning. Your content is always there, which I think is really great.
Yeah. Can I add one thing to that too?
Yes,
Because
please.
I think what we see sometimes when people get like burnt out or they are like, they kind of lose that momentum is sometimes it's because they're so in the everyday swings of
Mm-hmm.
what Amazon is doing that they're
Mm-hmm.
having a hard time zooming out, right? And so, one of the things I would encourage you guys, especially if you're just getting started, check your numbers every day. Like, I get it. Let's do that. But also, you have to kind of like take a step back because if you spend every day wondering what Amazon is doing or why your sales were up this much or down that much, it will drive you crazy, right? And so, like, I would encourage you to maybe like take that 10,000-foot view and look at, like, oh, I went from 0 to 100 videos and now I'm, at $1,000 or $3,000 or whatever the number is. And like, not be like, well, yesterday I made 10 cents and today I made $100 and yesterday I made, right? Because the videos placements are going to rotate. My hero video with my shade tent, they've created a new version. So mine is no longer like killing it like it was, right? Like those sorts of things happen. And it could be that Amazon removed the lower carousel, but overall, you're still making. I had somebody who's made money on the internet for a very long time. And the other day he posted somewhere in one of my groups, he was like, this is the easiest money I've ever made online. So like he was like,
Amazing.
what? So just like being able to step back out of the everyday roller coaster of making money online, especially on somebody else's platform, and just like internalizing, like you're going to keep going, you're going to keep doing product research and not letting that burn you out, I think is really key.
That is amazing, amazing insight. Thank you, Liz. I think you're exactly right. A lot of people look at their stats every day and are like, Amazon's testing and I hate everything. So I made $1 today, and really just keep going with it. Look at the high level and just keep with it. If this is something you enjoy doing, keep doing it because you will be rewarded monetarily.
Yeah.
Do we have time for one more quick
Yeah. I got
question?
nothing else this afternoon.
Um,
We can stay here all day.
Wonderful. I do have to pick up my kids, but not for like 45
Right.
minutes. Um, I'm super curious about this question too. So Tracy asked, do you think your extension will eventually work on other Amazon geos?
Oh, Tracy, yes. Now you are speaking my language.
That's
Yes.
what I had. We have to dive into this. Please
Yeah.
tell us, Liz. Tell us.
Yeah. So as soon as the marketplaces hit what I would consider critical mass for the things that we know as influencers matter. So like right now, Canada, just to use them as the example, if you guys have not been part of the international conversation, currently the Amazon.com, the US marketplace, is the only fully built out marketplace. Now, there are a total of 15 or 16, I can't remember, marketplaces that have influencer. Um, all of them moved to shoppable videos within the last couple weeks, which is huge. They also changed their creator university so that it says on-site placement, even though it's not live. And Canada is the only one so far that we're seeing kind of roll out that on-site placement, but it's not universal on Canada yet. So we're seeing, I've got one that I'm dying to get placed in pet. But we're seeing on like household goods, cleaning items, those sorts of things, that on-site placement. So once Canada is at a point where it makes sense and we need the tools over there to be doing the research because it's consistent, then yes, we will make that part of our roadmap so that we can continue doing product research on whichever geo. You guys, it is so much, like, I'm having so much fun experimenting with the Canadian stuff right now. I've got videos in every one of the geos because I'm committed to testing so that you guys don't have to. But yeah, Canada is real fun right now because one day you won't have any placements and then the next day it's like, oh, we do. But the Creator Hub piece, Tracy, just so you know, because Canada does not yet have a Creator Hub, we will need them to roll that out or figure out something else for that option. So the search page stuff, the bestseller stuff, the order history, any of those things, that will be, I don't want to say easy because anybody from my team that is building this will be like, please stop saying the word easy. But those will be like a transition for which URLs they work on. The Creator Hub is the one that I'll have to like wait and see how they roll that out in the different geos to see how we implement that.
Oh, that's so exciting. It's so exciting. I remember like not even that long ago, everyone in the forums and like the groups were like, oh, are they shutting down the Amazon influencer program? Oh, they're taking away all these video placement spots. And like Liz and we would just text like, of course they're not. Like we know they're not. Of course they're not. They're only expanding. So we see
Yep.
testing, they're expanding to the different marketplaces. They're doing all these amazing things. And Debbie had a quick comment. She said, also newbie hot tip, because I just Googled it this morning and I can verify you are correct, Debbie. ASINs are the same across all geos. Maybe not all geos, but definitely a lot of the same language speaking geos. So we
Yeah.
will typically see the ASIN in the US
Mm.
the same as Canada,
Mm.
but it could be different in the UK. But again, it's much more related to the seller,
Yeah.
not necessarily Amazon, because it's how they then upload their product to be available in the different countries. So a lot of them will be able to use that same ASIN. But that is a great place to start though, right? So if you're
Yeah.
like, ooh, is this product in the UK, take the ASIN and search for it and you'll know right away, as opposed to searching for the keywords or the title or anything like that.
Debbie, here's a hot tip to go with yours. I'm using Genius Link, which is one of the
Oh,
deep
yes.
linking tools. And I pull the US URL and drop it into Genius Link, and then it gives me a list of all the marketplaces where that listing is. Now, it's not 100%, but it's, let's call it like 85 to 90% of the way there. And for what I'm doing right now, it's a really big time saver because I was going to H marketplace and checking. No, just use one of the deep linking tools and pull up like the geos.
That is brilliant. Yeah, if you guys are looking, just yeah, Genius Links, just Google Genius Links, or I'll throw a link in the chat here. But so Liz, when you told me about the international marketplaces, the first thing I did was before I learned about Genius Link, I made my VA go and
Yep.
look through my Excel sheet with all of my videos, right? Because I use the ASIN in the title so he could take the ASIN and go search
Yep.
across the marketplaces. I had my VA do this and I don't know how many hours it took him. I really don't. But I paid him to do this, as well as what I used to have him do, which I just had him stop. Another thing I was having him do was check my video placements, which now
Yep.
I don't have to do with Creator Hub. So this woman is a genius when it comes to using tools to save time. So if you guys, I'm also going to drop the links for Liz's. So I already put in the Fluencer Fruit link. If you guys want to go check that out, that is my affiliate link. I will earn a commission if you choose to purchase through my link. Check out the Fluencer Fruit. If you guys have, of course, any questions, you can always throw them in the replay chat here later for sure. And then the other thing, what else was I going to say? I keep getting these text messages because I'm on like my iPad and
Yeah.
my phone, and it's like my friends trying to plan a Christmas party. And I'm like, I forgot to turn off
That sounds fun.
my text messages. Yeah, except there's no free time for Christmas parties. All the
Yeah,
days are
true.
taken. So yeah, make sure you guys go and check that out. Check out the Fluencer Fruit Chrome extension. If you guys have questions, like I said, throw it in the chat here. I know Liz is always happy to answer questions.
Mhm.
I can answer whatever I possibly can. We've got a lot of, Sarah said, I appreciate the time you both took today to coach and help us. Tracy says, yay. So thank you guys all for showing up
Yep.
live and asking all these amazing questions. I know it helps me. I know it helps you too, Liz, right? But
Yeah.
like these questions just help us they help us too. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Whitney says, thank you. All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, this has been so fun. We'll do it again. I'm
Yes.
sure. I'm sure. Thank you everyone again for joining, and we appreciate you. I appreciate you, Liz. Thank you for your time
Oh,
coming, helping everyone. Sam says thank you too. Debbie says thank you. So we got a lot of love going on here. I appreciate everyone in this group, everyone watching live, everyone watching the replay.
yep.
And we'll talk to you all soon.
Sounds good.